Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to What She Said Sports. All right, y'all. I'm outside, fresh air. I got to tell y'all, I love being on location so much. I've been running around looking for locations. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Don't be stingy with the like button. Um, it's time to get into some good expected news. If you saw the thumbnail, you saw the caption. Colorado's in the news today, and CBS Sports had everybody a buzz today talking about Colorado is expected to revert back to Kaidon Salter as QB1. Okay, now y'all know we do not believe here at What She Said Sports the change should have ever been made. We do not believe that Kaidon Salter made any grave mistakes that, it warranted to go to the QB3. And I told y'all I felt like there was some pressure, and I still do. But see, pressure works both ways, right? You can be pressured by boosters. You can be pressured by people we can't see. But do not forget, Colorado has sold $31 million in tickets this year, last year, and the next year, tomorrow, going down down the line. This is season 3, and it's sold out in the Coach Prime era. So to me, the pressure works both ways. What do I mean by that? Well, this is the poll we took here, but my poll was just a representative sample of how other people truly felt. And as you can see right here, Kaidon Salter was leading the way as the person who should be the quarterback now and going forward, meaning going into the Wyoming week 4 and throughout the rest of this season, 76%. And then second, not Ryan Staub, but Julian Lewis at 13%. Now, Ponder is on here and even got votes for 3%, but people have never seen him. But Ryan Staub got 9. I'm willing to bet you good money. If we had a chance to see Ponder play in one of those games, game 1, 2, or 3, I bet you he will be third in line. Now, we're not going to focus any more time on how such a terrible situation came to be. What we're going to do is talk about why it makes sense not only to go back to Kaidon, but we got to talk about who's calling the plays. If you notice, my thumbnail was like, Colorado would shift back to Kaidon Salter, but who's calling the plays? And who's calling the plays? Well, there's another glimmer of good hope out there. I don't know where this came from or why it came about, but finally, the name we've been talking about, that others have been talking about, Brett Bertolone from Jackson State, did some type of interview today. I don't know if it was unsolicited or solicited, but look at what he had to say. And the fact that he had words for what Colorado can do in terms of offense makes me feel like maybe Colorado's going to make the switch. I don't think we need to waste any more time with Pat Shurmur as OC, because I don't understand how it is that as Coach Prime could be okay with the defense getting worn out by being on the field more than the offense. Like, you can't win games like that, right? And I don't know, honestly, if that was Pat Shurmur's strategy in Cleveland or New York or Denver, but the point is he's not in the NFL anymore, because that is not how you win games, right? And I pointed out, I said, listen, I get it, Coach Prime likes the whole, running it like an NFL program, but we need to pick a franchise to emulate that's not the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is 0-2. Colorado is 1-2, right? And we're running the same processes. Check down, check down, check down, wearing out our defense, keeping them on the field. That's not how you win games. So Brett Bertolone basically said what he thinks the identity of Colorado's offense should be. I think we're an offense that should be able to run the ball, throw the ball. I mean, duh, right? We should be able to put together a plan that highlights the receivers that we have. It comes down to execution. We have to execute a lot better. Now, I like it and I don't like it. I like it and I don't like it. I don't think it's just about execution. I really don't. I don't think anybody wants to see Colorado execute check down, inside run, bubble screen. We don't want to see that. That's not what we're used to, and we're not trying to move away. We're not trying to move into dumbing down any of our talented phenomenal quarterbacks into game managers. We're not interested in that. So while might not be the offensive coordinator, at the same time, he didn't step on Pat Shurmur's toes by saying we have to execute better. Look here, okay? Get off these kids back, okay? Dumbing down the offense and putting the quarterback in bubble wrap in a booster chair in a high seat. This is not Cleveland. We don't want to play football where all we have is play action and the defense is supposed to do everything. We don't even have the defense for that. And when we did have it in the first game, in the first quarter, did Pat Shurmur respond? No. What he responded with was check down, 3 and outs, 3 and outs. And we got some numbers to look at just in about the timing of the drives for Kaidon and for Ryan Staub. So you could see how preposterous it was for Pat Shurmur to help prop up Ryan Staub. When you look at the numbers and the performances between the two, it's obvious that Kaidon is the quarterback. It shows you that Ryan Staub was just the preference. And I'm not going to even waste my time on talking about why Ryan Staub is his preference. Maybe they go to the same church or something. I don't know. Same church, same synagogue, same temple, something. There's some type of relation there. It could be maybe they have the same family lineage. Whatever it is, it has nothing to do with football. And I hope Coach Prime, like CBS said, truly puts an end to this foolishness and we move forward with Kaidon Salter as the guy. We are trying to win games. That's all we know from Coach Prime is winning. And it would be a shame to blow this whole season, limping behind Pat Shurmur's outdated offense. It's giving Neanderthal. Nobody plays football like that except for the Cleveland Browns, and it's not working for them either. So if we're going to emulate somebody, let's pick an NFL franchise that's a winner. So my poll is not the only one out there. Y'all will see there are other polls out there. I also asked the question as to who was watching the game, right? I wanted to know who was watching. It says, are you watching Colorado versus Wyoming Saturday night? This is the most updated version. 64% said yes and 36% said no. That is in line with the TV ratings for week 1, 2, and 3. On week 3 for U of H, people started tuning out. So one of the reasons we could be going back to Kaidon Salter is not just pressure from the fans and the media who understands what Colorado actually has an identity. It could be because those TV ratings are slipping, and that's how Colorado makes its money. Again, for Pat Shurmur to not have the wherewithal to understand that putting in a stodgy offense that's 3 and out would not only kill the defense, it would kill interest in the program. And that's exactly what happened with week 3, with the numbers slipping for the first time probably in 3 years. So again, these are not just my numbers. This is a representative sample of how people truly feel and what's taking place in the larger media orbit when it comes to Colorado. People were starting to tune out. And if you go on any of Colorado's pages, if you look at the comments on anything that was talking about Coach Prime or Ice Cube or anything with the program, it was, you got to win, coach, right? People had the same sentiment that we had here at What She Said Sports. We got to win. We got to win, and that's what matters. And these kids matter to people too, right? Using the receivers that we brought in. That's something that I can agree with that Brett Bertolone said, right? So hopefully he's giving his input because he'll be calling some of the plays. Hopefully. We got to cross our fingers on that one. Otherwise, this is just what we're going to be dealing with. We'll have Kaidon in there, but we'll still have Pat Shurmur's stodgy, outdated offense that expects the defense to do all of the work, that expects the quarterback to be a game manager. I don't like that at all. And I don't even know how Coach Prime could be okay with that. So let's see what happens when somebody takes the first snap. I'm telling you right now, they got 2 real-time minutes of my time. If I don't see Kaidon out there, I'm out. I'm out. And y'all see me sitting in my buff jacket. I wore it because, hell, I'm a fan, right? I'm a fan. And not all fans are just rolling with the foolishness. There are a lot of fans that want accountability. And as you could see with them seemingly shifting back, expected to shift back, they heard what we had to say, right? So these are the numbers that I was telling y'all about. This shows you why we need another offensive coordinator. This shows you why they're going back to Kaidon Salter and why they should have never gone away from him. It tells you that that move had everything to do with pressure and preference and not winning football games. So let's get into this. All right. So excluding end of the game situations, what you're seeing here, let me make myself smaller so y'all can see the screen better. All right. I'm down here, way at the bottom to the left. All right, so I'm just going to read this. All right, excluding end of game situations, here are Salter's 5 shortest scoring drives. So 27 seconds, and that's one scoring drive, 27 seconds, and then you have 9 scoring drives, excuse me. So 27 seconds, 203, 206, 207, and 226, right? So these are drives for offense. Very short, right? Very quick in and out. There's no scoring here. And they average all at about 2 minutes and a few seconds, with the shortest being 27 seconds. Now let's go over to Staub. These are Staub's shortest non-scoring drives. Understand, this is how defense end up being on the field all night and worn out. Staub's non-scoring drives, 29 seconds, 50 seconds, 107, 121, 123. How the hell could Pat Shurmur even advocate for this? You know, if you have your offense on the field for less than 50 seconds or a minute and a few seconds on average, you're going to wear out your defense. Does Pat Shurmur not understand what kind of defense we have? Does he not understand that they're not built to play the majority of the game? Does he understand this is not Cleveland? Cleveland is not even built for that. It's not working for them either. That's why they're 0-2. This is what's been happening. And it makes you scratch your head when you having access to the information. You had it before I got to it, right? How do you make the switch knowing that this is the case for Kaidon and for Salter? This is why I'm telling y'all it had nothing to do with Kaidon's performance. Absolutely nothing to do. And this is why the defense was suffering. And the funny thing about people saying we need to execute on offense, they want them to just execute anything. No. Put together a bona fide chess type strategy, not bubble screen. The reason that the drives are so short for Kaidon, if you remember what he was assigned to execute, it was trash. For the majority of the time, it was trash. Bubble screens, inside to the left. Come on, guys. Even, what did Jordan Seaton say? Jordan Seaton said, some people make it too difficult. You have a quarterback, use his legs. Run pass option. It's like Pat Shurmur didn't want to use a dual threat. So he thought bringing in Ryan Staub, who was a pocket passer like Shurmur, would give people hope that we would have an offense like Shurmur. Hell, he didn't even like the Shurmur Sanders style offense. Because look what he went to first for Georgia Tech. Look what he went to first. It was nothing like Shurmur Sanders style offense. But then you propped up Ryan Staub with these short ass drives to make people think they could get something. And they got nothing but wasted time. So now we're going into game 4. 8 games left. And I think about people like Omarion, right? I think about players like Omarion, who when the season began, I remember seeing him post his first, post in uniform or whatever, and it hit me. He gonna be leaving us, right? So it's not a good idea to sit up here and waste these kids' career, especially somebody like Omarion that's been down with us since the beginning, and he could have left. He could have left. He deserves better. And he deserves an offense where we're using a wide receiver, and we shouldn't have to tell the offensive coordinator that. So while I'm happy to hear we're expected to go back to Kaidon, I'm expecting it to be a different play caller. I think everybody understands that Pat Shurmur need to be fired. I bet if I run a poll tonight, and I probably will ask in that question, it's going to be damn near 100% of the people believing he needs to be fired. So we don't have time not to be stepping on his toes. He's running the program into the ground. And those non-scoring drives being 50 seconds, a minute and 3 seconds, that's what's killing the defense. Not just for the physicality of it, But for the point is, when that happened, when we played Georgia Tech, those guys were out there balling on defense, and we did absolutely nothing on offense with the turnovers. You know how defeating that is? And to say they need to execute the plays. Well, what about the accountability when they executed the plays and Pat Shurmur didn't do nothing? He should be fired for a multitude of reasons. One, poor game strategy. He was not out here just losing games. He was choking and stifling the program itself, and people were starting to tune out. So that's probably why we're going back to Kaidon if that's what happens. But that's what needs to happen. But in addition to that, we need a new offensive coordinator. And hopefully with Brett Bertelon right there and doing interviews, it needs to be him. Let me see what y'all are saying. So y'all had a chance to see what the drives look like. What are your thoughts about knowing that CU had access to that information, that, Staub's drives were this long, and that's what was killing the defense? What, even the making that switch to Staub knowing these types of things? What do y'all think about that? And what do y'all think about what Brett Bertelon said about, we need to execute the plays? And do y'all think he gonna be the OC? Or if you already heard, you let me know. Let me know. Hey, Mac, how you doing? How you doing? Hey, caught on camera, how you doing? How you doing? What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, Titus, how you doing? Hey, Valerie, welcome back. Welcome back. Hair blowing in the wind. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. They have been listening to you. I hope so. I hope so. Hell, the NFL better start listening too. We're gonna be talking about that tomorrow because there seems to be some pressure. It says Salter should start. Yes, thank God. Hey, Gracie, welcome back. We miss you. It said bubble screen is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Right. I'm like, why would you allow that? Like, why would you allow somebody to just smother your program like that? Like, I don't like that. Hey, how y'all doing? How you doing? How you doing? It said, yes, new football team. Yeah, hopefully we get Bertelon as the OC. Good evening. Hey, that boy wig, welcome back. It said, I think you're about to be out. What you say? I think you're about to be out. What does that mean, Mac? It said, that's correct. Oh, been down. Right. Think about it. Think about it. Like, oh, been down with us. And it hurt my heart because he would be leaving us. So imagine how I feel knowing he been putting in the work. We're going to be sad to see him move on to the next level. But we run into this roadblock where he only getting 39 yards in the first game, or he only get 59 yards in the second game. I don't like that. Right? I don't like that because you wasting that young man's talent, and he been down with us. So we need to do right by him and the rest of the receivers that came in here. I told y'all, I understood that the receivers were being selfish and they wanted style because they wanted to go with the Shedeur Sanders style offense. But is that what they called the U of H? No. So that tell you they did a whole bait and switch. They sold you on that type of deep ball passing in a very short control window, just like in Cleveland with Dylan. Right? And Tammy said it last night after we wrapped up when I was talking about Coach Prime, being tight-lipped, not wanting to talk in the interviews and be transparent. I think it was Tammy that put in the comments. She said, oh, just like Kevin Stefanski. I said, see, we are mimicking Cleveland down to the T. And I'm like, does Coach Prime know that? I'm like, come on, Coach Prime. I need you to mimic another NFL program. I get it. And I don't have a problem with him emulating an NFL type franchise. But we don't need that biased mentality that we're biased against black quarterbacks, because that's exactly what I saw last week. And when we played Delaware and against Georgia Tech, I know it when I see it, right? So while there's a lot of good things you can take from the NFL, it's certain things you're going to need to leave over there. And you need to send Pat Shurmur over there or to UCLA. But not only am I demanding to see Kaidon Salter back on this field and QB1, I'm demanding a new offensive coordinator. I don't have any problem with saying it. There are too many negatives about Pat Shurmur as the offensive coordinator. It is beyond his play calling. All of that dog whistle type language talking about Ryan Staub is cerebral. What? Like, get out of here with that. We're not with that, right? Like, his mentality is from an era that does not exist and should not exist on a college campus. I definitely don't like that. I consider myself an academician. So no, I don't like that at all. And I know if Brett Bertolone is right there, then there's no reason why he can't have that headset. I'm not worried about Pat Shurmur's feelings. And Coach Prime don't need to be worried about his feelings either. Not when all these people are breathing down his neck, expecting this program to keep in its winning tradition. It said, it's no secret Shurmur needs to go. It said he needs to be a good teammate and resign. Right. And the fact that he even trying to run the ship himself, I'm like, was Coach Prime absent and we didn't know? And I know people were like, Coach Prime was out. I get it, but he's back. Right. And to this moment, I will defend to the moment. Pat Shurmur was here last year. He didn't call anything like the UCF game or any of the 9 games that we won. Nothing. Nothing. And the only reason we didn't win games was the same reason Kaidon and Juju didn't look that great. The damn right side of the O-line. And you see they got that right in the U of H game. So I expect, we're going to talk about my expectations tomorrow. I expect the right side of the O-line to be whoever it is that was out there, because they changed up. And I'm like, see, you knew you had a problem on the right side of the O-line, but you still went with Staub. See, that's what a lot of people didn't like. A lot of people knew, you could see with the naked eye that Kaidon and Juju were the only ones that were sacked. We knew where that was coming from. So, hopefully it is Kaidon, but I'm demanding a new OC as well. If I got to talk about it every day. If I got to talk about it every day. Thank you. I'm glad you like the jacket. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people put a lot into this program, right? I bought this jacket. I saw it, and I didn't know for sure if I wanted it. I saved it. And when I decided to go to the Alamo Bowl, I did everything to make sure I got that jacket before I left for that game. It wasn't free, right? I love it. It's got the cute little buff on the back with the little bling on it, which is cute, right? And 17 hours to the Alamo Bowl and was, made the best of it. But it went horrible for people that come so far away. It's like, man, this is the best y'all could do. So, of course, I don't want to see our program being manipulated by somebody who, in my opinion, has some ill intent. And you see just through the first 3 games, 1 and 2, and then TV ratings starting to dip in the 3rd game. And then, Coach Prime being sold by likely Shurmur and some boosters that Staub should be the guy. And that just went horribly. When I saw Coach Prime standing in the middle of the field, just standing there like this, I was like, but that's a lesson. That's a lesson. It's okay for you to take the best of the NFL that you know can help these players. But you're going to have to right this ship all the way. Kaidon is the start, but I'm demanding a new offensive coordinator that's going to call a game similar to the identity that Colorado has, and that's to win. And that's not with no vanilla plays. And they let Staub finish the game. It's not right. Right. A lot of people, I'm telling you, a lot of people do not like how none of that went. So again, I think there was a lot of conversation. I think some people got told some things behind the scene. I know the pressure, and it's okay if boosters want to pressure. But you know what? $31 million in tickets from fans is nothing to sneeze at. And them kids don't pay for their tickets. So I don't care who they cheering for. But the people that pay the money that show up, that's telling you, hey, you know what? You know how to win. Put your quarterback that you brought in. You made a decision. You stick to it. But again, if you never benched Shurmur like that, you should have never done that to Kaidon. And what message were you sending him? That's all they were talking about in the first quarter of the game. And when Kaidon came back in the game, you know what they said? They had him to sit out too long. You know who knows all of that for sure? Pat Shurmur. He's an offensive coordinator. He know what it does to have the offense stay off the field and the defense stay on the field. He know what it does to have bubble screen, check down, bubble screen. He knows this. He also knows what it does to sit down a quarterback from the first quarter and wait 2 minutes and 41 seconds to go back and put him in the game. He knows all of this. And this is who Coach Prime is trusting. Well, he going to lead you right to the damn unemployment line. So you keep filing him if you want to. But I'm demanding a new offensive coordinator. And yes, I want to see Kaidon out there. And I want Kaidon to be treated fairly. Hey, Gail, how you doing? It says stop getting replaced. Yeah, he should have never been there. Hell, I ain't convinced he should be QB3. I want to see Ponder. I think Ponder is QB3. Is Coach Prime going back to Salter? That's what they saying. CBS Sports reported that it's expected to Coach Prime to go back to Salter. It said Prime going to get fired if this mess don't work out right. And that's what people were saying when we were live watching the game. I kept putting that post up there. The guy, Big Papa, that was talking to somebody else in the comments said, yeah, I get it. But what is Coach Prime going to do if style don't work out? You just going to run back to, you're going to keep running back and forth. See, that's what makes him look bad. I'm like, do you not realize they making you look bad? Like, I know you think that people want to blame Shurmur, but they blaming you because you are the man in charge or supposed to be, right? So he got to understand, he got to protect his own reputation. And planning your next stop is not how you protect your reputation. If you a leader, leaders have to fire people sometime. And you're going to have to get comfortable with firing people in season, especially if you make a bad judgment decision and you hire them and they turn out not to be what you are. It's okay to bring in Randy Moss, you know, and I like that. I like it because, you know, Randy Moss is him, right? Pat Shurmur was never him. So I don't even know how that happened. But the point is, it needs to come to an end expeditiously. Expeditiously. Is Old Miller fully healthy? Yes, he is. What up? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Good evening, everybody. Watching from the bushes, however. Okay, it said, did Brett become the new OC? He was talking as if he was calling plays this week. I don't know, Kenya, but we hoping. Everybody has been asking for that. Since the Georgia Tech game, people have been saying, switch to Brett Bertalone. They either post his picture with nothing else or they just say it directly. And I know I've said it. I think we can finally move on from Byron Leftwich. I saw somebody post it back in March that Leftwich was joining CU, but I think that ship has come and gone. So Brett Bertalone is right there from Jackson State, so he need to be the OC. And again, I don't even know why it is after the last guy didn't work out. I don't even understand why Coach Prime didn't just make Brett Bertalone the OC from Jackson State anyway. I mean, I just don't get it. And maybe I never will, but it's not working out. So we need to make a change. And that's what I mean by leaders. When things are going well, it's no cause for you to show people your leadership. But the ship was sinking. The ship was sinking, right? And it shouldn't take pressure for you to right it. And now you need to keep righting the ship. And you can't sit there and let everybody call for Pat Shurmur to be fired and bleed to the end of the season, wasting these kids' time. When Coach Prime stated the other day at his press conference that we might be back on path this weekend, maybe, my heart ached for the players that's trying to get to the next level, regardless of what we think about it. You can't have them players over there and you talking about maybe we're going to be okay this week or maybe next week. That's not leadership. And I know Coach Prime is better than that. So whatever it is, he only have to take a moment and get it together and talk like a leader. These kids believe because they believe in you, but they can't believe in you if you saying maybe we're going to be okay and you just burning through games. Fire Pat Shurmur. And let's keep it pushing. Coach Prime said we could be 10-2. People were like, not with Pat Shurmur as the OC. I totally agree. He the reason right now we 1-2. It says Shurmur transition from analyst after Sean Lewis' abrupt exits should not have become permanent. Not his strong suit. No shade to replace him. I don't have no problem with saying it. I don't even know why he was made the analyst. Brett Bertalone was right there. Brett Bertalone has been there since they got there from Jackson State. That's going to be a lesson for Coach Prime. And again, I know he came highly recommended, but he need to look at those people who highly recommended Pat Shurmur to him. He going to have to do some soul searching here with his so-called NFL friends because they not your friends, boo, at all. Because if somebody had recommended somebody to me to hire, you know what I'm saying? I would no longer consider you a friend if it worked out like it's working out for Coach Prime, and it's not working out. They making you look bad. It said Ponder should be QB2. Uh-oh. All right. So you've seen Ponder play Lil Will? It said Prime gets fired. Who gonna replace him? Hell, I think Pat Shurmur was trying to get it. It's funny how Doc Livingston. I think it's supposed to be Doc Livingston. I think Doc Livingston is already tapped to possibly be the guy, which is why they overpaid him. And again, I told y'all, I was a little subtle when I said it. I asked y'all a scale out of 1 to 10 to rate Doc. I was saying, I ain't seen nothing from him that make me think he's that guy. And yeah, I was subtle with it. And y'all gave him a 7 and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, maybe it's just me, right? You know, I don't have all the answers. So I just went along with what y'all was saying. But I'm just going to go ahead on and say it. I want to get Pat Shurmur the hell out the way first. And next, we're going to talk about Doc. But let's right the ship first and start winning and get back on the winning path. And I deal with Doc next. First, we got to keep the damn defense off the field all night. And that starts with the OC. It said, knowing KS is from, Kaidon Salter from the Texas area, and Style played the whole game is dirty. Y'all all know his family was at the game. And you know what's crazy too? You know what else is crazy about that? What did Style say? I don't have any NFL aspirations. So you mean to tell me you gonna bench this 9 NFL, 9 playing QB who's a damn sophomore and put him in front of this number 15 top draft pick quarterback? That's what you did. You try to stunt Kaidon's ascent to the NFL by putting in Style, who ain't going nowhere and don't have no interest in going nowhere and can't go nowhere. You see that? Style ain't even eligible, said he don't even have those aspirations. And that's who you going to put in front of Kaidon. How could Coach Prime not see that play coming? I mean, just with everything what Shurmur going through, how could you be blind to that's exactly what they already did to Shurmur, especially when they were talking about the Heisman in October. Shurmur was number 1 overall, and then they bumped him down. And then as the draft went on further and further and further, to the point people still arguing about Shurmur did the right thing by not going to Baltimore. On the show called The Arena, I didn't watch it. It looked like they got into it. And one person was telling the other, the reason you think he should have went to Baltimore is because you have a backup QB mentality. I was like, there it is. I told y'all the same thing with Acho. When you just happy to be in the room and they give you a t-shirt and you think that's all you worth, then you take Baltimore. But think about it. Shurmur was courted by Cleveland. And I'm going to talk about this. Shurmur was courted by Cleveland for 3/4 of the process for pre-draft. And at the last minute, after 4-4, they switched. And that's when they went get Dillon. That's when they went get Flacco. They already had Kenny Pickett, which meant they knew what they was going to do. That needs to be talked about. That's why he didn't take a backup role when he was just being courted for $46 million at number 2 overall. I'm talking about that tomorrow. I'm going to connect some dots because people want to sit up and talk about Shurmur was wrong. No, I'm going to tell you why he didn't take it. Not just because he don't have backup mentality, but because they were wooing him at the number 2 overall pick. That's like you going through a job interview and the process is 7 interviews. And when you get to interview 7, they like, okay, we going to go ahead and we going to get you and we're going to pay you $46 million and you're going to be our prized possession. You're going to lead us for the next 5 to 10 years, right? And then what happened? When it's time for HR to call and make the offer, they bumped you down to something where you make $4,000. And then they're like, well, we want to hire you, but listen, we want you to go ahead and be the backup to Lamar Jackson. What? That pissed me off just the thought of saying that out loud. So first you wanted me to leave and you're going to pay me $46 million. But in 2 weeks before it's time for me to start, before it's time for me, you want to switch me off and make me the backup behind a guy that ain't going to never get fired. He going to have to die first before I could play. That's why he didn't take Baltimore or any other, because they were playing in his damn face. And notice, nobody talks about Cleveland was getting Shurmur at number 2. So that's what I'm talking about tomorrow. I'm talking about it tomorrow. I'm like, you know what? Y'all done open this door. And I said people didn't have interest in it. And I see people defending Shurmur and I defended Shurmur. But nobody is saying why it is that he didn't take the backup role, because he was supposed to be number 2 overall, which means there's no way Cleveland can sit up there and act like they don't know the caliber of quarterback he is. And that's huge. That's huge. That's bait and switch. We talking about that tomorrow. We talking about that tomorrow. So we're gonna be talking about Wyoming. I watched them play again. This should be an easy game, but again, maybe I was watching their offense and not their defense, just like U of H. Because I kept talking about U of H and Rice, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna win that one by 3 touchdowns. Duh. So we're gonna talk about that tomorrow. And I got some work to do when I get out of here. And I'm gonna connect these damn dots because I'm sick of people sitting up talking about Shurmur is a third string QB and Shurmur should have went to Baltimore when they don't talk about the fact that they was gonna hire this young man at number 2 overall, and they pulled a bait and switch. And in fact, that's probably gonna be the title of the thumbnail. The Cleveland Browns pull a bait and switch on Shurmur Sanders from their $46 million QB. That's what we're gonna talk about. I'm sick of this, bro. That's a good kid over there. That's a good kid over there that they trying to dance around the truth just to have something to talk about. Thank you for opening the door, Adam Schefter. Because Adam Schefter is the one that actually posted that the Cleveland Browns, he was certain that they was going to get Shurmur at number 2. So for the person to be sitting up there talking about Baltimore, but never talk about he was going to Cleveland, that tells you they intentionally not saying it. That means they intentionally making Shurmur look difficult when they pulled a bait and switch on him. That's fraud. We're going to talk about that. Because when they got Kenny Pickett, they were never going to make Kenny Pickett QB2 behind Shurmur Sanders. So why did you get Kenny Pickett in March if you knew that on April 4th, you was at Colorado being interested in Shurmur Sanders? There's a whole interview talking about it with Mary Cabot. I already played it once. I'm going to play it again. So hopefully, Coach Prime, I know it was some people in his ear telling, Prime, that ain't right how that kid was treated out there. And I don't know, again, why Coach Prime would not want to go against Pat Shurmur, but that's also a problem. Because when you're a leader and you bring in your friends or you bring in a partnership, maybe you want to have business with the NFL in the future, be careful. Because if they don't work out, they're going to own you, they're going to ruin you, and they're going to kick you out. And that's where he was headed. That's why it was articles talking about, is Coach Prime going to end up like Deshaun Foster? I'm like, yep. If he don't right this ship, they're going to do it to him too. He not exempt. And he got to understand that, right? He's not exempt. The NFL showed him he's not exempt from being disparaged. He's not exempt from being excluded. Coach Prime is not exempt from being humiliated or put down. So what are you protecting Pat Shurmur's feelings for? Did he protect Shurmur's feelings when he compared Shurmur to Daniel Jones? Like, let's protect the people that deserve to be protected. And let's fire the people expeditiously that deserve to be fired. We don't have our time to waste Omarion's talent and Draylon's talent and all these other kids that's trying to get to the next level. You got to get on it. That's one thing about being a leader. You got to be decisive. And sometimes you got to fire people. Prime is their best choice. It said facts. He got to fire people. Yeah, you can't be playing. You can't be playing. I'll tell y'all the story. So I had a housekeeper, right? And I think I had just had my first baby. And the housekeeper we had for 3 years. 3 years, right? So that means you get to know the person. And I work from home. So I went in my baby's room and there were a bunch of clothes that still had the tags on it from the baby shower and all that kind of stuff. Babies grow real fast. And it's true, he probably wasn't going to wear them, and I just didn't do nothing with them yet. And I went in his room, and I was looking, and I was like, it's something missing. So, long story short, I realized what happened. This woman worked for us for 3 years, and I had to fire her, like right there. And honestly, I went back to my desk, and, I communicated what I was getting ready to do. I was like, I'm finna fire her right now. I was like, because if it start here, it's gonna end with my shit. It's gonna be a problem. So I went upstairs and I said, hey, my son's name is Reese. I said, I noticed some of Reese's things are gone. I said, and you've been with us for a while, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to let you go because the only people here, are you for the most part outside of me. And that was it. And that was it. I didn't hesitate. I wasn't angry. I wasn't irate or nothing. It's just, look here. It's certain things you can't let slide, because a problem this size becomes a problem this size, like that. And eventually it's out of your control to do something about it. That's why you have to act expeditiously. I hated the fact that we knew by game 4 of what's that game, Oregon. I hated that we knew after game 4 that we had a problem with Lewis and company. And I hated that it caused Shador to be sacked so many times. That hurt me. I can't even go back and look at those games to see him get hurt like that. And all because some people felt like, well, let it bleed out to the end of the season and bring in. Why can't you just fire that man? You had Brett Bertolone right there. All you had to do by game 4.5, just based on suspicion, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put Brett in here. He's going to start calling some of these plays too. Just let him audit the situation. But I can't say to each his own, because understand this. After we've been invested in this program, we attached to these kids. Like Mata, hell, Jeremiah Brown, everybody that came from Jackson State, and even Omarion and anybody that came in with him. If it hurt me for him to post his first post, his last spring ball, because he gonna be going on, I'm not gonna sit here quietly and let you disrupt his career because maybe we gonna get it together this week or next week. Hell no. I don't know who feelings we considering, damn it, but it gotta be the kids. And sometimes you gotta fire people expeditiously. And I'm still calling for Pat Shurmur to be fired for a multitude of reasons. Prime has taken full responsibility. I don't need responsibility. I need action. I need action. I don't care if he take responsibility in the whole Kaidon situation. I need Pat Shurmur to hell on, because he the one that set Kaidon up, and I tell him to his damn face, and everybody know it. It said CP talks consistency and Shurmur constantly runs a lesser offense. That's what I'm saying. You can't ask for consistency and 120%, but you allowing your OC. Jordan Seaton said right after the Georgia Tech game what the problem was, and Coach Prime denied that was the problem. And that's what happened in that locker room. That's what happened. It said, well, on the 4th of October, K-Salt family will have another chance to see him play in Texas. Hopefully by that time, the team is up. The team need to be up week 4 right now. We don't have time to be sitting up here playing around, right? We won't have time for that. You can't go from a winning culture to a losing culture. Ask Dabo Sweeney over there, who over there crashing out because they trying to get rid of him. He said it. If you want to fire me, fire me. And that's the attitude you need to have. Because I don't know who came to Coach Prime with this foolishness about stop, but he should have told him what Dabo Sweeney said. Look here, I'm the coach. I went and got Katie. You're not going to make me look crazy. And that's what really kind of threw a lot of people, right? We used to Coach Prime not let people make him look untoward. But that was crazy. And I don't care if he took responsibility. I need Shurmur the hell gone. And I'm not the only one. Brett Bertolone is right there. Make that shit right. Shurmur was sent. He sure the hell was sent. I could see it. And yeah. And Shador, just like Shador was pigeonholed to Cleveland, Pat Shurmur was sent to Colorado. Understand that. See, sometimes when people know what it is that floats your boat, they'll use it against you. And see, all them NFL people knew that Coach Prime wanted to be in. Remember, Coach Prime is not a coach. He's not in the fraternity of coaches. He's not an offensive coordinator from the NFL. He's not in that fraternity. He wasn't in leadership. All those people are considered executives in the NFL. They got their own fraternity, skull and bones like, but that's what the hell it is. He's not that. He was a cornerback, defensive back, right? That's you just a player. You're just a body to them. And with him going to Colorado and then garnering all this attention and then, wanting to put this NFL staff and wanting to have inroads into the NFL and, this, that, and the other, they took advantage of it. They knew he would want that. He's proud to have an NFL staff because it makes him feel like he belongs. What did Julian Johnson Law teach us? Put it in the chat. And to me, Coach Prime fell victim to that. What is the message that Sundown Towns told Black people, made that they enforced? You work here. You don't belong. And they knew he wanted to belong. That's why they had him up on the stage with Bill Belichick before they stabbed his son, both of them in the back. They say Shiloh owed the NFL money because he didn't even make enough money that they finding him. And you still want these NFL people around you? I wouldn't be slinking around trying to bring in Byron Leftwich. Pat Shurmur desk would be packed the hell up, and Brett Berlone would be standing outside the door. Just that whole Daniel Jones comment alone, I told y'all he should have never even came back. And look at what he was trying to get. He was going up in the whole season, the whole damn season. And I think they took advantage of Coach Prime wanting to belong to the upper echelon, to that little secret fraternity that they have. I'm like, Brian Flores is suing them, and he actually was a coach. You can't go past that. See, you wasn't supposed to go past the reality of what's happening to black people in NFL. You can't think you different. I ask y'all, what's the difference between Lamar Jackson and Shedeur Sanders on how they was treated in the draft? Coach Prime. And look at how they did Coach Prime. At some point, you're going to have to stop trying to fit in with them folks. It said, you're right. It said the way Prime has been talking lately is concerning. He has always spoken with confidence and swag. Now he's hopeful. It said that's not the Prime I know. Right. It's like he don't want to step on Pat Schumer's toes. Does that man have some video of you? Because just put it on out there. Because see, if you call me and tell me, I'm like, put it out there because shit, I ain't nothing I can do for you. You can't let people blackmail you. You can't let people extort you. You can't let people punk you. You can't let people intimidate you. Something was happening where the transfer of power has shifted to Pat Shurmur. And he was being allowed to take it all down. Yes. Now you tell me what that could be. I have seen Ponder play boy the dog. I hate we gonna lose him, but I wish him well if we can't use him nowhere. I knew somebody said he beat out Stop for QB3. Lil Will, did you hear that? Did you hear that Ponder beat out Stop for QB3? Let me know, because I did. It says Shedeur and those wide receivers made Shurmur look good from last season. You know what? I saw a picture of Travis and Shedeur in the hallway, and I said to myself, Lord have mercy. Like, it tells me that if we didn't have Travis on defense killing it, Shedeur would have been out there just trying, right? I mean, we were truly blessed with the two of them, right? And Coach Pop need to replace whoever got the L patch. We need to go back to that. Like, why wouldn't you go back to that? Just like number 17, Isaiah Hodge wanted to continue the tradition of the walk up and down. He needs to continue the tradition with the leader and the dog. That's why you don't have no leadership, because people waiting on you to do what you did before and grant the leaders and the dogs. You got to keep that up. You can't switch up because Shedeur and them gone. That's crazy. That's not leadership. That just means you was riding them here. And I know you don't want nobody saying that about you. I really think Coach Prime is better than that. So he going to have to step on up and continue the leaders and the dogs, because the kids waiting on him. He going to have to dismiss Pat Shurmur. We don't have time for it just to be Kaidon and Kaidon to be fighting Pat Shurmur, because next people going to be calling for you to be fired. Hey, they was already there. We can't keep fighting every week, right? We trying to win football games here. Who do you call? It said, who do you call Rob Livingston Doc? Is that his name? It says, so last year's talent outperformed. Shurmur sabotage attempts last year. That's what it's given. That's what it's given. Because think about it. Without Travis, we see the same thing this year on offense. We see the right side of the O-line was tripping until the U of H game, or until Staub came in. That's when I said, oh, so Staub gets the protection. I went all the way back to that UT game that people kept saying, Staub need to be the guy. I'm like, we lost that game. He had 159 yards. I'm like, wow. And people tell me he better than Shedeur. What y'all looking at? I went back to that game. He also had protection. So to answer your question, Sugar Creek, the answer is yes. And if Shedeur had to overcome Pat Shurmur, why put any quarterback, whether it's Juju, Ponder, or Kaidon, in that situation? And better yet, if you know Shurmur had to overcome it and you put Kaidon in this situation under Shurmur, why you let Shurmur take down this program to 1-2? That don't make no sense to me. It's almost like he brought Shurmur in, or so he thinks. And it's not up to him to dismiss Shurmur. Because when Leftwich was there, somebody said they ran into him at the grocery store and something about politics. And before the Georgia Tech game, there was a post saying that CU was a shit show on X. And I didn't save it because I thought it was BS. It tells me this politics play been at hand. And I'm thinking maybe Coach Prime tried to move Shurmur out, bringing Leftwich in, and it backfired, which means what I said last week. Shurmur trying to take down the program because he has an alliance over there, and that's where Staub came from. So I don't really know if Coach Prime brought in Shurmur like he think. I think Shurmur was sent. Somebody over there got Shurmur back to the point they got Staub in that game. And they was moving Coach Prime out the way. But we're going to see what happens this week. Infiltration, that's what it feels like. And with them trying to send Tommy Reese over there from Alabama and Cleveland, trying to send the OC from, why would you send the OC from Cleveland to UCLA and Pat Shurmur at Colorado? You see what I'm saying? The worst franchise in the world you want to infect people with? There's something up there. It's something up there. That's how you control the quarterback, the OC. Oh, I think it's raining. So I might have to hurry up. I think it's raining, y'all. So yeah, I think it's raining. So I'm gonna have to hurry and move along. Yeah, I think rain might be hitting my laptop. Let me make sure. So I'm gonna have to close this up. But we'll be back tomorrow anyway. Yeah, I think rain hit my laptop and it freaked out. That's not funny. That's not funny. All right, I'm gonna have to get ready to wrap it up, guys. It's 112 of us. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. If you joined us late, just catch the replay tomorrow. It's getting ready to rain out here. Something to go in. Kaidon Salter expected to be QB1 tomorrow on Wyoming, and better be going forward because hopefully we don't have no carousel. All right, so I'll be back tomorrow, guys. See y'all later. The rain is coming down. This was great, but I gotta run. Thank y'all for the love and the support. And thank you to my Cash Appers, my members, my subscribers, and for the people that just hanging out with us, hit the like button. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Trying to hurry up and beat the rain. Uh-oh. Good night. Good night. It's raining. Good night. Oh. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.